Put the call to the member for Gorton.
Member for Holt, actually. But thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Just as this is probably one of the few last remaining occasions that I'll have to speak in this particular parliament, in this chamber, and particularly would like to talk about the priorities for the Australian economy and my constituency in 2016, or as part of the brought forward budget week of 2016. The people living in my electorate of Holt in the southeastern suburbs of Melbourne, in great suburbs like Endeavour Hills and Doveton, Hallam, Hampton Park, Narre Warren, Lynbrook, Lyndhurst and Cranbourne and others, are looking for a budget to focus on the outer suburbs. They're looking for a greater sense of security and to benefit from the new opportunities that the government should provide in a budget. They're looking for a budget that invests in creating jobs, invests, particularly in the outer suburban areas, in health and education, and invests in new social infrastructure. One of the projects that I'm pleased to say that we worked on, and I worked on in collaboration with the City of Casey and others in the region, was lobbying the Australian Government to provide $10 million for the $125 million project to build a brand new arts precinct and 800-seat regional theatre called Bunjil Place. The construction has begun, Madam Deputy Speaker. Cranes are in the air, and during the construction phase, 1,200 people will be employed to build this phenomenal new facility. Bunjil Place will not only comprise an 800-seat regional theatre, but will include a regional art gallery and a 300-seat function centre, as well as a community library, meeting rooms and activated community plaza. The spirit and the great spirit of creativity of art and design will be on show for all to see, and it's wonderful that this project's been built in the Westfield Fountain Gate precinct. Budget 2016 will probably have additional funding to ease congestion. I think there's already been an announcement on that on Monash Freeway. But it's vital that we see for additional funding for other road projects in the outer suburbs. As an example, the Andrews Victorian Government's additional funding of the Thompsons Road project in Cranbourne is extremely welcome. And whilst I think that project funding was something in the order of about $150 million, it still needs an overpass over the Western Port Freeway, and that's something that we will be asking and have been asking this government to take care of or to look at in the budget, and I look forward to reading about that announcement in the budget, and I'd be very disappointed if it's not in this budget, this government's budget, the Turnbull government's budget. Budget 2016 also really needs to address an area that is quite essential to the development and the continuation of the development of outer suburban areas like Holt, and that's the rollout of the NBN. The rollout of the NBN faster to people living in the outer suburbs. So many people in businesses, a lot of businesses, because a lot of people are coming out. I mean, the Prime Minister talks about the new agile economy. Well, the new agile economy needs the new agile technology to plug into the information superhighway. But what we get at the present period of time are those people contacting my office each and every day of the week, complaining about broadband difficulties. I mean, it is essential that in the 21st century that every home and business has access to high-quality broadband services. Now, in Holt, there's been some criticism about the previous government and its rollout, but the previous government would have, previous Labor government would have rolled out under the original NBN plans areas of NBN fibre to the home to places many of which have just been simply discarded in this government's rollout. In Holt, nearly 10,000 homes in Cranbourne are connected to the NBN, but let's hope by 2020 that every home and business in Holt will be connected to the NBN. And we're certainly concerned, and we've raised these concerns actually on a bipartisan level, that this concern hasn't been rolled out to the outer suburbs of Melbourne, because it is quite essential. We look at some of the world-leading high-tech companies that are basing themselves in this area, in the outer suburbs, and they still can't access adequate speeds. And this would have been one of the things that we had looked at, we had addressed. The original plan had the sort of work spoking out from Cranbourne and Dandenong, which are epicentres of Telstra with the existing cable network, and that work's basically stopped. There are some new estates, and for the thousands and thousands and thousands of people that live, the hundreds of thousands of people, we have a situation where Westfield Fountain Gate has built another shopping centre because the growth is so great. We're going to have a catchment area of over 400,000 people. And so you would think in the old days that you'd make sure that an old Telstra would make sure that every house was connected to a telephone line. We can't even guarantee that every house is going to be connected to a functioning broadband system that they need to deliver the services that they have paid their taxes for. And I just think it's reprehensible. It treats people in the outer suburbs like they're second-class citizens. We've heard a lot about that in recent debates, and it's just not satisfactory. In the similar vein, last week I was joined by Senator Katie Gallagher, Shadow Minister for Mental Health, Simon Curtis, the Labor candidate for Latrobe, and Jennifer Yang, who is our outstanding Labor Senator candidate for Victoria, to visit a Headspace in Narre Warren as part of the funding for discussion about mental health, which should be a budget priority. The Headspace staff at Narre Warren provided an update on their service and how Headspace YEP program, and emphasised how important this service was for Casey youth. Now, let me explain how important it is. In 2011-2012, Madam Deputy Speaker, we had what is known as a suicide cluster in the southeastern suburbs of Melbourne. I don't want to go into the number of young people that took their own lives and the concern and distress. I mean, youth suicide is tragic in any set of circumstances. There's no other way to describe it, but this was a substantially large number of people there and in Albury. And it provoked national attention. Four Corners did a program on my area, which was called There Was No 3G in Heaven. It was an outstanding program. As a consequence of the lobbying efforts of young people, we had two headspaces that were created there, a headspace in Dandenong and a headspace, and created and funded, and a headspace in Narre Warren. And the rollout of those headspaces in Narre Warren and what we call the Youth Early Psychosis Intervention Centre that sort of rolls over the top of that has given young people in the region profoundly affected by a whole set of factors, family dislocation, say drug and alcohol dependency issues, a place that they could feel safe to go. And so what has really, really upset me as someone that spearheaded the creation of those facilities is that clearly after the briefing that we've had from the great staff of Headspace in Narre Warren and at that other Headspace YEP service, that those programs are not guaranteed, that even Headspace won't be guaranteed. We have, and we're about to find out who the third lead agency will be. Since 2014, 3 lead agencies have managed that Headspace since 2014. And as a consequence of that, they're losing trusted staff. And it's absolutely vital, if there's anything that this Turnbull government's going to do, it has to guarantee, it must guarantee, providing services to our most vulnerable people and our future, which is our young people. And it's also beyond my comprehension that the Turnbull government is cutting funding to the Youth Early Psychosis program, the YEP program that I referred to at Headspace Narre Warren. In 2016-2017, there will be a 25% budget cut to the YEP program, and in 2017-18 there will be a 70% reduction to this program by the Turnbull government. How can we be talking about the future of the agile and innovative economy? This service is a world-leading service. What's happening with Headspace and what's happening with this Youth Early Psychosis program, Madam Deputy Speaker, it's actually been exported almost in places like Canada, in places like Europe. They're looking at our program, looking at the success rate, looking at how needed it is. And here, the cradle where we invented this program through the great work of Professor Pat McGorry, 2010 Australian of the Year, and others that have rolled these programs. There are over 100 headspaces around the country, with a number of which have the Youth Early Psychosis program on and rolled over that. How could you, as a government or as a parent in all conscience, just blithely announce that a funding of these programs is going to be cut? and offer no guarantee for their future. It's an absolute, if there's anything that I would say in terms of, and I've talked about infrastructure, I've talked about anything, if you could walk away from this budget as a parent and someone's concerned about what's happening in the area, this Turnbull government has got to guarantee the future of Headspaces, has got to guarantee the future of the Youth Early Psychosis program, because frankly, what are we, would you be a government when you can't even protect your young people in the region?
Thank you.